He's got a new book out called The Quarterback Whisperer, How to Build an Elite NFL Quarterback. It hits bookshelves, book stands, and obviously online stores this Wednesday. He is the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, two-time Coach of the Year, Bruce Arians. How are you, Coach?
Rich, I'm doing great. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing fine. So let's get into this. Why write the book? Where did this come from?
Well, a buddy of mine, Mike Fitzgerald, he's been after me like 7 years to do this book. And I met Lars Anderson a couple of years ago and really hit it off. And they kind of told me how easy it was. And so a few cocktails and a few stories, and we got a book.
I was going to ask you, how many fingers deep did you get for some of these stories, Coach?
Oh, many, many, many. Double-fisted.
So out of all the quarterbacks that you have whispered into the ears of and coached, Peyton, Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck just being three, and obviously your current one, Carson Palmer, what has been the through line for a great NFL quarterback?
Well, I call it grit. You can measure arm strength and athletic abilities and all that stuff. And but if you can't lead men, and if you can't handle success and failure about the same rate and real quickly, you're going to fail.
And how do you scout that? How do you find that when you're looking?
That is the hardest thing to scout, because you really don't know it until you get them in the huddle. And it's one of those things that you hope you find it. You listen to everybody that you talk to in the recruiting process and the evaluation process, and you got a pretty good handle on it, but you don't know how they're going to. They've led college guys, but to lead men, grown men with families, that's a whole other story.
And how was Peyton Manning when you found him? I know you got some great stories in your book about this in particular.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. Our veterans showed up the same time he did, and they were learning in the meetings, and he got in the first huddle, dice, right, scat, right, 92. Hey, be ready for cover 3. And everybody's like, hell, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean? What are you talking about? He already had the playbook down.
Well, and he had the playbook down, but it was a while till he found sustainable success in the NFL. And I'm wondering if you could recount the story that about Peyton before a particular Patriots game, and you noticed some body language that was disturbing to you.
Yeah, he had rough outing his first time against the Patriots, and then we gotten better as a team the second year, and he was ready to go. He was like one of those horses you couldn't get in the gate and fidgeting, and so it's like you get his mind off of it and say, what are you doing with your footwork? Wait, why are you changing your footwork? What are you talking about? So just get him thinking about fundamentals, and he started thinking about fundamentals, and went out and had a great ball game. And
so he's a guy that needed some coaching up, that you think, Bruce?
Oh, I think everybody needs coaching. Your mom, dad, and God can only take you so far. and I think the relationship between a quarterback coach and a quarterback has to be extremely special because of the trust level that has to be involved.
And Peyton was, according to your book again, a first-class prankster. Can you give me that one example from your book, Coach?
No, they got to read the book for that one. That was too good.
Okay.
But between he and Kelly Holcomb, and Steve Walsh, Billy Joe, those guys, I thought there'd be a fight sooner or later because of the stuff they were pulling on each other and the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. But one of the best practical jokers of all time.
Okay. That's called – you just did it – like you'd be good for TV, Coach. That was a tease. We call that a tease. Go read the book. Bruce Arians joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Why is it so difficult to fill out even 32 teams with a successful quarterback, with all of the kids that are playing football and all of the college programs that we're seeing out there and the amount of talent in the pipeline? Why is it so difficult to fill out, forget 64, 32 positions at quarterback?
Yeah, it's such a hard position to play. And there are so many great college quarterbacks that just can't handle the volume of information and have the mental quick twitch fibers to make decisions in 2.5 seconds and all the things that go into that 2.5 seconds. And you have to have arm strength. You have to have some stature. But that ability to process information quickly is the thing that separates.
And how does Carson Palmer have that, Bruce?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, he's one of the hardest working dudes I've ever been around. So, we have to really pull the reins back on him. He'll overwork all the time. Last year, he kind of came in September, had already worn his arm out by overthrowing all summer. And we found a nice regimen. November, December, he was playing as good as he's ever played.
Well, how much longer do you think he's going to have at it?
I think it's every year's going to be another question at the end of the season, how he feels. Competitively, he'll never quit. His wife will probably have to tell him, hey, this is it.
Mm-hmm. And what about Larry Fitzgerald, Coach?
I think the same thing. Sports science, Rich, is so amazing now. These guys, their bodies look like they're 25, 27. I know their bodies don't tell them, their minds that, but with the way they train and eat and do everything so to take care of themselves now, they can stay and play so much longer. It used to be 30. Now I think that number's 40.
Well, I mean, Brady's certainly showing that right now. He believes he can play deep into his 40s. The question is, in Arizona, for you and Larry and Carson, the whispers are, speaking of with the coach, the quarterback whisperer is the name of his book, Bruce Arians. The whisper is that the three of you are a package deal, that you guys look at each other and say, "Won't do this one more year." Is there any truth to that statement?
I probably, if my salary was up with theirs, maybe, but no. I think each of us is totally separate. And for me, it's all about health. If I feel healthy, I'm going to coach until I feel I cannot do it anymore. Those guys, I think, will have the same type of decisions they had last year, but there's no timetable on it.
How's David Johnson doing?
Oh, fantastic. Had a great spring. That injury was so scary to not have to have surgery and to be as full tilt as he is right now. And, again, one of the hardest working guys that I've been around.
So he's ready to go? When training camp opens, he'll be there and ready to roll?
Oh, yeah. He was full speed, all of OTAs. I think he was actually cleared at the end of February.
Okay, so he's ready to roll, and everybody's back. You're back, and Carson. Well, everyone on the offensive side, in a way, is back. Do you talk Super Bowl openly in training camp, Coach?
Always. Every meeting that we start the season with, we set up our goals. We want to win our division. We want to get in the playoffs. But we want to win the Super Bowl. And you set those goals, and then you set them aside, and you start the daily process of how to get there. And you don't talk about it anymore, but you don't shy away from it.
Mm-hmm. Bruce Arians joining me for a couple more minutes here on the Rich Eisen Show. The Quarterback Whisperer, How to Build an Elite NFL Quarterback is his new book. It's on sale starting this Wednesday. He's right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Which is the one rule, if I could wave a wand, you're now in charge of the NFL, what you as a coach would you like to do away with?
Oh, I think I'd blow up the CBA and start all over.
What do you mean?
Especially with I like to see us go back to practicing more. I think the quality of we have such great athletes playing now. They're kind of saving the quality of the game. And I'd like to see the players make more money.
So that's an interesting aspect of it, because from what I remember back at the lockout, which, by the way, aged me like crazy. I had more hair before the lockout than afterwards.
You and me both.
Yeah, I bet. That was kind of a trade-off, that the players, for concessions that the owners got, they got the time off. How do you think it is affecting play in the NFL, all that time off?
Well, I go back to last year, and I think our offensive and defensive linemen were in pads for 11 days before we played a game, a preseason game. And it's just not enough, and people worry about injuries. Well, if you can't teach them how to play football, all right, we're not playing soccer. it's okay for wide receivers and DBs to run around in shorts, but the linebackers, running backs, the tight ends, and defensive line, they gotta have some contact. It doesn't have to be head-on contact. Everybody's worried about more head injuries. It just has to be blocking and tackling that proper way more often.
Say that one more time, Coach.
Just better practice. More. You don't. People always worry about more concussions if you practice longer, and if you're doing things properly, they're avoided.
So when it all comes down to it, Coach, writing a book or coaching a National Football League team, I mean, when it all comes down to it, how much more help do you get for something like that? Writing a book or coaching a game?
Coaching the game.
Yeah, do.
We got a great staff.
Okay.
We got a great staff, and you couldn't do it without them. Blessed with probably the most eclectic, different staff. We got Tom Pratt 82, Tom Moore 80,
That's right,
and some guys 26, 27. A couple of former players, young guys, and so it's such a great staff that way.
Well, when you come out Los Angeles way, I really would love to have you in studio and really dig into stories like you're telling in your book. Obviously involving with Paul Bear Bryant and other coaches, Jim Morris Sr. I mean, you've just been around some great characters and some greats, Coach, and I'd love to pick your brain some more before the season.
Love to do it, Rich, if we could.
You got it. That's Bruce Arians, Arizona Cardinals head coach here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and Audience.
If you liked some of that, get some more of that on the Rich Eisen Show app. Follow all the information you see right here on the Rich Eisen Show.